Hello, my name is Rafael De Conte. I'm from Globebroking.com and the control office here in Brazil. So, uh, let's come back to discuss the world economy and the future of humanity concerning how the powers on the international scenario works. So, our last thinking on these central issues, world economy and future of humanity, we used the Darwinian theory to think about, well, countries with more people and less money are countries that can provide humans with more efficiency in a certain point of view. So, we also discussed about the GDP of each one of the countries, but also considering the military expenditure and the debts of the government to provide the public services. So, coming back in the point that we start to conclude, well, not necessarily a country with a lot of people like India, but with a not so high GDP per capita as a people with more more evolution in kinds of Darwinian theory. Let's try to think in the opposite way. Countries, small countries like the countries in Europe that the population are not increasing, right? You have countries with 5 millions of persons, right? Like Finland. And we can think that not necessarily the evolution is you have more people nor less, but a number that the environment and the humans that live in this environment can have a mutual relationship and not a relationship like, well, let's explore this nature without rationalization, without thinking the consequences for in the future, right? So we start to go to the other side of the arguments, right? So let's think about the military power and the economical power. We have here again that website that are helping us with data on the economies of the countries. So let's see the expenditure of the military expenditure of Brazil, right? Look, 2010 and 2 years ago. Let's see the maximum period. Oh, alright, this is the present number, right? 30 billions. Let's see the India military expenditure. 2010 and 2 years ago. The present expenditure is this. right? So let's compare. India expand more than the double of Brazil, right? And the GDP, the gross domestic product of India, is not so higher than Brazil, considering also the difference of population, right? Because in Brazil we talk about millions of persons, and in India we talk about billion. So let's see China military expenditure, and soon I want to observe one important thing concerning asymmetric war. But let's see first aqui, China military expenditure, right? Considering the GDP of China, that is 14 trillions, you have 200, more than 200 billions in military expenditure, right? And increasing since 2010. Let's see the curves up. Increasing. Brazil. Let's see the last 10 years again. Increasing, but it's different if you look to India and China, right? So let's see the military expenditure of United States. Now we can go to the USA. Yes. Just a moment. Well, came here. Now do this and here. Let's see. United States, $21 trillion of GDP, government, military expenditure. Let's see. Interesting. Decreasing. But even decreasing is the three times more than China, right? Let's see. Now Russia. Russia, that have a GDP equal to Brazil, but military expenditure increasing, decreasing. But look to this number here. Right? 10 times less. So as I told in the first video of World Economy, we have the issue of technology as the breaking point, right? Is the base of the military power and the economical power, the technological power, right? The scientific power. Why? Because atomic bombs, for example, the nuclear energy. Let's see this. This was the Tsar bomb, right? This was the Tsar bomb, the biggest atomic bomb ever dropped in the planet. So let's see the explosion of this. The power of destruction. The power of the destruction of a bomb like this can destroy almost a country in one time, a small country. Look to this. The light of the bomb, person saw the light of bomb 1,000 kilometers of distance of the explosion. This is amazing. So, even in this time, right? Even this time, with probably the Soviet Union was the second GDP, you can understand a different way of make the war from the Soviet side. So, if they had less money, right? What they need to put their hands on the table and say, we also are the owners of the planet. So quality in a bomb. They had less economical power. They had less military power, if we think airplanes maybe and soldiers. But what was the big difference? They had the nuclear technology, right, for atomic bombs. Let's see another video that is concerning the Manhattan Project, right? Look to the date. More than a half of century ago. And at this time, the United States are researching a way to build this atomic bomb, right? And at this time, a lot of atomic tests was made. Before Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the bombs of Nagasaki and Hiroshima dropped by the Enola Gay, right? Was made the first bomb, and the scientists at that time started, some of them, including Einstein, start to circulate a petition, right? Asking to give an advice for the Japanese surrender, for the Japanese accept lost the war before the bombs are dropped. But at this time, the U.S. military power already had the hands in the bomb. And one of the arguments is that dropping these two bombs, the USA give the end of the Second World War earlier if this kind of bomb do not exist, right? And we have more than 1,000 bombs, nuclear bombs dropped in our planet, and this had consequence, and the consequence will stay here in the planet for a long time, because radiation, contamination, right? Let's see another video. Let's see if we have the numbers up here. Let's see another video concerning Chernobyl. Why?
The Soviet version is this. One of the atomic reactors at the Chernobyl atomic power plant in the city of Kiev was damaged, and there is speculation in Moscow that people were injured and may have died.
So, this kind of accident that happened in the Chernobyl nuclear plant is a kind of accident that brings permanent damage, right, for the environment. Permanent, it's an area of exclusion. People cannot live anymore. So cities like Pripyat in the Ukraine cannot anymore have citizens. It's a dead seat, and it's a dead place because the plants of that place have radiation, contamination, right? Because the explosion of the nuclear reactors. And this happened at this date, right? Let's see another accident. Look the city before the explosion. They evacuate all the population of the city. Let's see the Fukushima accident. So we are talking about technology as power, the power that divided the international scenario concerning the power of the countries. And the nuclear energy can be used for atomic bomb to end the Second World War, or to give advice like the video of the Tsar bomb, right? So Russia advising, we have the power, right? We don't have the money of the USA, but we have such nuclear power that we are concerning military power equal, right? Because the asymmetric perspective. So the nuclear another also use it to generate energy, right? And other ingredients for the bombs, including, look to this, the explosion and the nuclear contamination. Some sources say today that even almost 10 years of this accident in the Fukushima reactor, right, in the Japanese territory, because tsunami. Some sources say that the Pacific Ocean are receiving contamination of the garbage resulted, the toxic radioactive garbage resulted from this explosion. Let's see another fact. Well, the nuclear energy can be the nuclear knowledge, the knowledge about atoms and how the energy inside the atoms can be used to produce destruction or to produce to medicine, try to make people healthier. So we have here in Brazil an accident, a machine of a hospital that use radioactive element, right, was dropped in the garbage, and some persons found this machine and tried to take the element, the radioactive element, right? So it's a machine that we have in almost every city that have a hospital, right? A good hospital. So it's a fact of our daily lives that an accident like this can happen, right? And the contamination of the persons cause, of course, disease like cancer and other things. So let's see we close this second part about the knowledge to produce bombs and nuclear bombs. Let's see what Albert Einstein explains about his formula, right? The energy. So if we think that I do not understand why the light speed here inside this formula, but if you think that the energy is equal the mass, right, multiplied by the speed of the light twice, very little mass can have a lot of energy, right? Let's see what this sir explained to us. So, as we can see, right, a very small mass can produce a huge energy. And this technology that understands the atomic level and how extract energy, breaking the atoms, this kind of technology was, and in my opinion, is one of the three technologies that give the shape of the international scenario. So in the next video, in the part 3 of World Economy and the Future of Humanity, let's talk about the second kind of technology, that is the biological technology. Did you already heard about CRISP, genetic? So let's talk about this in the next video. Thank you. My name is Rafael de Conte. I'm a Brazilian lawyer and political philosopher. Please visit our websites to get more content. Thank you for your attention.